Client listens to doctor and gets a great settlement as a result of phenomenal medical treatment. Hello and welcome to this week's case review and client victory. I'm Shane from Shanesmithlaw. We're talking today with one of our attorneys, John Wheatley. He got a great result for one of our clients, CR, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. John, tell me about CR's accident. What happened?
CR was driving down the road one day, and a person failed to slow down when the traffic started slowing and slammed into the rear of his car, which his wife was also in as well, at a pretty high rate of speed.
Okay. So you said him and his wife were in the car together?
Yeah.
Were they both injured as well?
They were both injured, yes.
Okay. And what kind of injuries did CR have in this particular case?
His primary injuries were in his lower back. He struggled to sleep at night. Sitting and standing for prolonged periods of time were painful, and it stemmed primarily from the sudden impact of the high-speed collision.
Okay, where did you say they were on the highway when they got hit?
If it wasn't a highway, it was a high-speed road. So anywhere between 50, 60 miles an hour was the impact.
Wow. Okay. That sounds like a very severe impact is what I would say. And what was the impact of these injuries on CR? How long did it take for him to recover? Any procedures he have to do? How did things go?
He ended up having to have some nerve conduction studies done and resulted in having some injections into his lower back, which thankfully, alleviated his pain significantly enough to where the doctors he treated with didn't think he needed any more invasive procedures, but it did result in him having to get some injections, and the pain was prolonged for about 6 months, maybe 6 to 8 months.
Wow. Okay. That's a long time. How were you able to take that and get a great offer for CR on this case?
It was primarily due to the treatments he was getting, and that he was willing to follow what his doctors were telling him to do. A lot of times we can get somebody help, but they need to help themselves a little bit in order to get the greatest results. And CR was great about doing that and following along with the doctor.
Well, it sounds like it paid off for him. It sounds like he was able to get some great pain relief, and you were also able to get a great settlement for him as well. Was he happy with the settlement overall?
Yes, he was. He was, and we were able to work with his medical providers as well to get him the most, coming away with it too.
Okay, that sounds great. What's something you learned on this case you would apply to another case?
One of the things that popped up in negotiations was a note in his medical records about his job, and his job was working, not construction, but doing some sort of manual labor. And they tried to associate that his injury with his job, but because he followed along with what the doctors were saying and the medicals were clear, there was no sign of his job ever being a problem, and there were no prior records or prior injuries diagnosed as well.
Okay, great. It's great you were able to basically refute that or fight that against the insurance company. To our listeners, remember, if you're in pain, call Shane. Find us online or dial 980-999-9999 or our free book, The Victim Survivor Guide to Car Accidents. We'll be here back next week with another client victory here from Shanesmithlaw.
980-999-9999. 980-999-9999. Shanesmithlaw.